Today, we are continuing our new series called Not Canceled. And I'm so grateful that you're here, so grateful that you're leaning in to part 2 of Not Canceled. Come on, from where you are, would you just say not canceled, sitting in your living room, sitting in your bedroom, watching this on your laptop? Just shout, not canceled. Because that is our belief. That is our mentality, that there are some things in this life, even though we're in a season, even though we're in a moment where everything is canceled. They're canceling shows, they're canceling your ability to go places, but we believe there are some things that are not canceled. And it's not just our neat little thoughts. Actually, the scriptures tell us that there are some things that will not be canceled. Paul, the New Testament writer in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 talks about how there is a ton of stuff that's going to be canceled at one moment. Things that we thought were important, they're going to go away. Things that we thought mattered a lot, they're going to be done. But there are 3 things that are going to remain. He says you can't cancel faith, and you can't cancel love. And today, you can't cancel hope. You know, that is my announcement to us today, that hope is not canceled. Come on, where you're at, what you're going through, what you're dealing with, hope is not canceled. But is it lost? You know, it is entirely possible that you, right now, have lost hope. Business is closed. Employer said you can't go back. You can't bring your employees back right now as a business owner. Graduation looks different for you from high school, from college, from getting your master's, whatever it may be. Things got canceled. People you know and love are sick. People you care for, it's like, are they going to make it through this season? Maybe your grandparents, maybe your parents, they're up there in age. Maybe their health isn't what it used to be. And it's like, can I leave the house? And the hope that you used to have feels like you lost it. It's like, where did it go? That's because hope is easy to lose, but it is impossible to cancel. Now, before you think I'm just being like a little twisty with words, trying to deal in the semantics of things, hear me out. Hope is easy to lose, but it is impossible to cancel. And here is why. If you were taking notes, I would write this down. If you downloaded the notes from the top here in the chat on Church Online, you're going to see this there. Because losing hope has to do with your placement of hope. You are the one who sets your hope. You know that, right? Like wherever your hope is, you decided that it is going to be there. In fact, the scriptures bear this out over and over and over again. In 1 Peter chapter 1, Peter writing there tells us to set our hope on God. You hear this all through scripture, that hope is this object that we take and we set it somewhere. So if you set it in a place that is unstable, if you set it in a place that's rocky, if you set it in a place that seemed like it was good, but then something happened and it knocked it over, you can actually lose your hope because it has to do with your placement. But canceling hope, write this down, canceling hope has to do with God's placement. I feel ready to preach in an empty auditorium. Come on. Canceling hope has to do with God's placement. And the last time I checked, he is still on his throne. The last time I checked, he is still in charge. The last time I checked, he still rules, he still reigns, he is still in control. And canceling hope would have to do with God moving off his throne, and maybe he hadn't moved yet. So you may lose hope because you placed it somewhere that is turned upside down, because you placed it somewhere that broke down, because you placed it somewhere that got shaky. But you can't cancel hope, because canceling hope would have to do with God stepping out of his place. It would have to do with God stepping to the side. And no pandemic, no problem, no politician, no primary care provider has the opportunity to cancel your hope, because canceling hope has to do with God and his never-ending, never-failing, being our source of all hope. So what's that got to do with me? I'm going to tell you. The strength of your hope right now, presently, is determined by the place that you have put your hope. I'm going to say that again. The strength of your hope presently is determined by the place that you put it. If you have placed your hope in an insufficient source, it's showing right now, isn't it? If you placed your hope somewhere and now that somewhere seems unstable, now that somewhere is a little weak, it's showing its cracks, it's showing its age, it's showing its inability, your hope probably feels rocky right now. Your hope probably feels unsettled right now. Because the strength of the hope that you know presently is determined by the place that you set your hope. Some people set their hope on their business because they thought their business was invincible. The problem is these moments are showing us your business wasn't as invincible as you thought it was it? Some people put their hope on their education, put their hope on their street smarts. Man, I'm so bright, I'm so intelligent, I know so much, I'm always gonna be fine until now. And you set your hope on your own strength, your own power. Some people set their hope on their own health, their own work ethic, their own ability to figure things out, their own connections. The only problem is we are now in a moment where it seems like none of that stuff matters. All of that stuff is being compromised. And maybe that's you, and you feel like you've lost your hope. Maybe you have. Because you set it somewhere that was never designed to make it through any and every season, any and every storm, any and every trouble that would come your way. The strength of your hope presently is determined by the place that you put it. So where did you put your hope? Where is it? Where did you put your hope? Because if this pandemic, if this present moment is showing all of humanity anything, it is showing us this. It is showing us where we placed our hope. Because it's entirely possible that you are losing hope in this season, and you say, but I thought I had a faith in God, and you do. But maybe you have a faith in God for eternity, but your hope for today is in something that you are finding out is very faulty. Your hope for this present moment, your hope for your present provision is something that's shaky. But I have good news for you today. Come on, lean in with me. I got good news for you, and it's this: that even if you have placed your hope somewhere else, God can be, God wants to be your present hope in this moment. Even in the worst of times, even in difficult seasons, even when it feels like our society and our world is coming apart at the seams, God can be your hope. You can live in hope. You can have hope, even in a difficult season. How do I know this? Well, in the scriptures, there's this fascinating account where someone literally lives through the worst with their hope. It's actually recorded in the oldest book of the Bible. And before you buzz in trying to be all Bible smart, please do not type Genesis into the comments, because that is not what I'm talking about, okay? The oldest book in the Bible is actually the book of Job. And even in this ancient writing that bears out about a time some 4,000 years ago, it brings to light a problem, a tension, a struggle that hits us right where we are, quarantined in 2020. Yeah, we're going to lean into the life of someone from 4,000 years ago. But their problem, their reality, their resolve, and their God can teach us a little something today. And so I want you to turn your attention to the book of Job. Book of Job, chapter 1. And for the next few moments, I want to walk you through some of what this man went through. Check it out, Job chapter 1, starting in verse 1, it goes down like this. It says, there was a man in the country of Uz by the name of Job. He was a man of perfect integrity. What an incredible compliment. I would like it if the Bible would record that about me. He feared God and turned away from evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. His estate included 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 female donkeys, and a very large number of servants. Look at this last line. Job was the greatest man among all the people of the East. Like what an incredible compliment. Basically, what these verses are telling us is that Job was awesome. Like objectively awesome. And here's why that is important. Because most of us think that we are awesome, right? You love yourself some you, don't you? You do. You smile when you stand in front of the mirror. When you think about your goodness, like you like yourself some you. And because most of us think that we are innately good, we think that we are at the core of who we are, like good people, happy people, strong people, helpful people, noble people, people who do the right thing. We then trick ourselves into thinking that bad things shouldn't happen to us. Because somewhere along the way, we picked up this idea that bad things shouldn't happen to good people. I don't know where we picked it up because that ain't how it works. That ain't Bible. That ain't how it goes. But somewhere we picked up this idea that bad things shouldn't happen to good people. And if I am good people, then why are bad things happening to me? First of all, you are not good people. I am not good people. And let's just be honest. Even if maybe we are good people, Job was better people than you and me. Okay? Job had a better life. He had more going for him. He was a better person because not only was he loaded, not only did he have businesses, not only did he have servants, not only did he have this massive family, not only did he have a bunch of money, he literally was the greatest man in the whole East. He had integrity before God. What an incredible man. And so here's how the story goes. We get this little introduction to him, and then the oddest thing happens. God and the accuser have this conversation, and Satan basically obtains the opportunity to be able to wreak havoc on Job. They go through this kind of back and forth, and Satan points out Job, and he's like, the only reason I think Job loves you and serves you and follows you is because you're blessing him. Job is #blessed. And because of that, Satan sort of propagates and gets this opportunity to mess with Job. Look at how it goes starting in verse 9. It says, Satan answered the Lord. They're in this conversation. Does Job fear God for nothing? Haven't you placed a hedge around him, his household, everything he owns? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything that he owns, and he will surely curse you to your face. That's what Satan said to God. And can I tell you something? Satan is right. Don't tweet that. But Satan is right. He ain't right about Job, but he's right about a lot of us. That a lot of us, if you took away the goodness, if you took away the blessing, it may not be Job's blessing, but I'm blessed. You took away the good stuff happening to me. You took away my good fortune. You took away people that loved me. You took away my paycheck. You took away stuff. All of a sudden, I'm going to get mad at God and be like, God, where did you go? And God, why did you let me down? And God, I thought you were faithful. And God, I thought you cared about me. And God, Satan was right. Because a lot of us put our hope in our stuff. A lot of us put our hope in the things that we can see, in the things that we can control. And our hope resides there rather than in our God, who will go beyond, before, behind, and in and out of all the stuff. Because stuff will come and go. People will come and go, but God will remain the same. And a lot of people set their hope, because remember, you decide where you put your hope. A lot of people set their hope on their stuff, and when you take their stuff away, they blame God. because my health left me, because my strength left me, because I didn't have that job anymore, because my friends turned their back on me, because people said they were going to be there for me and then they went away. And I set my hope on something rather than setting my hope on God. And when that thing goes away, some of us, we get mad at God, and all it does is show us that we had put our hope in those things. See, where you place your hope matters most when times are worst. You can fool yourself into thinking in a good time that you have put your hope in God, but really you've put your hope in something that has become your God here and now. You've put your hope in the consistency of your life. You've put your hope in your own strength. You've put your hope in your own education. You've put your hope in your own resources. You put your hope in what you can do and what you can provide. And we can trick ourselves into thinking that my hope is in God, but you take the stuff away and God, where are you? God, I don't know about this. God, Satan gets proven right. Can I tell you that's why a lot of people have lost hope in this pandemic? Hope is not canceled, but people have lost hope because their hope was in a stock market that was going up and to the right. I don't really know much about the stock market, but I had heard. They put their hope in the value of their house. They put their hope in the stability of their employer. They put their hope in their expansion opportunities for their company. They put their hope in their ability to control their own future. And some of you today, listening, watching, even right now, your hope has felt rattled. And the reason your hope is feeling rattled, it is felt rattled, it is shaking, you feel like you lost it, is because you set it someplace that is not designed to carry your hope. You set it somewhere shaky. And when that source runs out, so does your hope. Which is what's so remarkable about Job. Because Job goes through this season where he loses everything in spectacular fashion. I mean, this would literally be like a movie that it's hard to wrestle with. I mean, imagine Job sitting at his desk in his office, running his companies, handling his family, counting his money. He got all this stuff going on. And then person after person after person after person comes in. And the first person comes in and says, Job, your business is gone. Then another person comes in and says, Job, the stock market just crashed and you have no money. And then the next person comes in and says, Job, all your kids were hanging out on the beach, and then all of a sudden a wave came in and the whole beach went away, and all your kids, all your grandkids, they're all gone. Everything Job had, everything Job had worked for, everything that Job loved so dearly that he could see and touch and feel was gone in a moment. And for many of us, we think that may be grounds to lose our hope, to give up our hope. But what is so remarkable about Job is he does not. Look at how the scriptures tell us in Job chapter 1, verse 20. It says, after hearing all this, just report after report after report, Job stood up, he tore his robe and shaved his head. He wanted to look like your boy. I kid. He was sad. He said he fell to the ground, worshiping, saying, naked I came from my mother's womb, naked I will leave this life. The Lord gives, the Lord takes away. Praise the name of the Lord. And look at verse 22. I love this. Some of you, this needs to be your goal in this season. Throughout all of this, everything that went on with Job, Job did not sin or blame God for anything. He did not sin or blame God for anything. Now, Job is really hurting here. I know sometimes we can detach our emotions to accounts in the scriptures. We can think, oh, these are just perfect little people or neat little people or idealist little people. Or maybe for some of you think these are just little fairy tale sort of stories. No, this is a real man who really lived about 4,000 years ago. And this is what happened in his life. He was really hurting. He was mourning. He lost his kids. He lost his business. He lost his money. He lost the people that worked for him. He lost everything. Everything. And that hurt is real. And that hurt is obvious. And here's what I need you to understand about hope. Some of you need to digest this because it's never made sense to you. Hope does not make you immune to hurt, but it makes healing possible. Just because you or I have hope does not mean that we are immune to being able to hurt. Some people are trying to tell you that. Some people are trying to tell you, oh, if you have hope in Jesus, everything's going to be all right. Psst. It's going to be all right in the end, but it may hurt in the here and now. It may get difficult in the here and now. Sometimes I may lose my mind in the here and now. I can have hope and hurt at the same time. Hurt does not disqualify my hope. It does not discount my hope. I can have hope while I hurt because it's that hope that gives me the opportunity to receive healing while I'm hurt. So I can hurt and have hope because that was Job here. That's me right now. Can I tell you, I'm hurting. Let me tell you what it's like being a pastor. You want to know just a little bit of being a pastor? You probably don't, but let me just tell you about this. You find out about 0.1% of the good things that happen to people. Basically, that they're getting married or they're having a kid. Those are the things you always find out because your services have been requested. You find out 99.9% of all the bad crap that happens to people. You do. Somebody's sick in the hospital, you find out. Somebody, they have to close their business, you find out. Somebody's kids having problems, you find out. Now, I'm not disparaging this. I love what God has called me and graced me to do. I love that I get to be a part of some of your lives. I love that. But can I tell you something? If you think I'm walking through this season in some insulated spiritual bubble, man, I hurt. Because there's not a day that goes by that I don't get contacted and somebody has a very difficult situation they're living through right now. They've lost someone they love. Someone they love is sick and in a hospital and on a ventilator. Somebody gets furloughed. Somebody has to close their business. Somebody's praying for their business to be able to open back up. Somebody applies for the PPP and it doesn't go through. And so now they don't know what to do with their employees. They promised their employees, they thought they were going to be able to keep them on, and now they can't. And it's all crazy and it's all nuts. And what do you do? And I hurt. But I don't lose my hope. Because my hope is not in these situations. My hope is not in this stuff. The hope that's available doesn't necessarily take away all the hurt, but it brings healing in the middle of it. And that is what Job felt. But Job's pain didn't even stop here. Job's pain went to another level. See, up to what we've read at the end of chapter 1, the pain that hit Job affected all of his stuff. You flip to chapter 2, and now Job's own body is hurting. Look at what it says in verse 7. It says, so Satan left the Lord's presence. He's been bartering again because he's mad because Job hasn't given up his hope just like Satan thought he would. Satan thought it was connected to his blessing like a lot of us it is. But for Job, it wasn't. And so Satan left the Lord's presence and infected Job with terrible boils from the sole of his foot to the top of his head. This is gross, verse 8. Brace yourself or cover your ears for about 10 seconds. It says, then Job took a piece of broken pottery to scrape himself while he sat among the ashes. His wife said to him, do you still retain your integrity? Curse God and die. And then Job replied this, you speak like a foolish woman. He told her, should we only accept good from God and not adversity? Throughout all of this, Job did not sin in what he said. Now, there's a very interesting contrast here that I do not want you to miss. Everything that happened to Job essentially happened to his wife, correct? They lost their kids. Can I say the story differently? They lost their money. They lost their businesses. They lost the people that were working for them. They lost their animals, like all of it. They lost all of it. But yet they responded in two completely different ways. Job loses everything and still has his hope because his hope was set on God. But it's almost like his wife, who had the same stuff, had her hope set in a different place. And now here she is, having lost her kids, having lost her stuff, just like Job did. And she says, curse God and die. Be done with this. We have lost our hope. Why? Because maybe she had put her hope in the stuff rather than in the God who was greater than the stuff, the God who could provide new stuff in due time. What's the difference here? Placement. Because where you place your hope matters most when times are worst. So that's my question for you. Where did you place your hope? Come on, be honest for a second. Where did you place your hope? Because here's what's true about this moment, and Kirk Franklin sang it years ago. If you don't know, now you know. You know. And that's what's scary, isn't it? You know, some of you, that you put your hope in the things that you could control. You would put your hope in the things that you could provide. You would put your hope in your direct deposit. You would put your hope in some things that you thought were good and safe and strong. So you put your hope there. And when those go away, some of you feel right now like you lost your hope. And the reality is, you know where you placed it. And that's what's disappointing to you or scary to you. If you don't know where you placed it, let me ask you a few questions. Did you place your hope in something that can be taken from you? Because your health can be taken from you. Haven't we learned that in this season? Your job can be taken from you. Did you place your hope in your job? Your money can be taken from you. Come on, your connections can be taken from you. Your security can be taken from you. Your plans, they were good plans, but your plans can be taken from you in a moment. Did you place your hope in someone that can disappoint you? Some of you have lost your hope because you put your hope in a leader. You put your hope in a spouse. You put your hope in a boss, and they have let you down. They have turned their back on you. You put your hope in a friend, and the problem is you set your hope there, and when they walked out on you, when they hurt you, when they took from you, your hope went with it. Did you place your hope in somewhere that was broken to begin with? Some of us, we have put our hope in this planet. We have put our hope in the systems of this planet. We have put our hope in places, in organizations that are designed, broken, that will let us down. Can I tell you, if this season has shown us anything, every one of us know where we placed our hope. Because problems reveal the placement of hope. I mean, didn't it show us here in Job? It showed us that Job's wife had put her hope in their stuff, and Job had put his hope in his God. That is why today, for you, for me, for all who would want it, our hope is not canceled, because my hope is in the one who cannot be canceled. My hope is in the one who will never fail, never run dry, never run out. These things may get broken. These things may not look the same. Resources may not look like I thought they were going to look, but my hope is not in my resource. My hope is not in my strength. My hope is not in my intellect. My hope is in the one who goes before me, the one who will come after me, the one who is my God. That's where my hope is, and that hope is not canceled. I hope you feel this the way I feel this. That your hope does not have to be canceled. Your hope is not canceled. And because Job had a hope that wasn't canceled, he was able to do what a lot of us are supposed to do right now. Deal hope. I have heard some people say that the book of Job is one of their favorite books in the Bible. That's not the case for me. In fact, my recommendation to you, especially if you're struggling with your hope, do not read the book of Job. Because after about what we read, for the next 40 chapters, that's 40 chapters, it is Job and a few of his knuckleheaded friends, just his knuckleheaded friends come by to comfort him, but really all they do is complain. And Job has to go to these people who are supposed to be there to comfort him, and he has to set them straight, and he has to encourage them, and he has to remind them, and he just has to deal hope, deal hope, deal hope, deal hope. And can I tell you, that's what I'm trying to do for you today. Job is sitting there hurting, but he's dealing hope. And can I tell you, for me, I get to hurt too, but I'm trying to deal hope. I know some of you think I live in a bubble. Nope. The world that you live in, the pain that you feel, I feel too. In fact, I could even make a case that to some extent, I get to deal with more of it on a difficult level right now. Because some of you know this, but for a little over 3 years, our church met in a movie theater. We rented a movie theater on Sundays for services. And we set up and tear down, and we would clean up nachos and cheese sauce and gummy bears to be able to turn it into a nursery and do all of this for years. And then God opened an incredible door this past fall for us to acquire a permanent space. And we spent January and February working like mad people to paint and renovate and redo and turn this sloppy old building into a church that we could use, a building that we could use to preach the gospel, to serve people and to care for people. And we got 2 weeks. And then we got coronaed. 2. And so now I get to preach to an empty auditorium. And so now we have organizations in our city that need to meet, need to gather, need to do services that we are wanting to partner with. We are able to partner with, and we can't serve. We can't host groups and gatherings and stuff, but guess what? We still got a building. And if my hope was in a building, if my hope was in a space, I'd be sad and depressed. 2 weeks and nothing. 2 weeks, can't use it. But I feel like it's my responsibility, even on today. It's my responsibility, even in this season, to remind you that our hope is not in this stuff that we can see. Our hope is not in this stuff that we try to work out. Our hope is not in our plans. Our hope is not in the stuff that we've made. Our hope is in the one who goes before us, who is behind us. And I believe what God is saying today is that he's looking at you and he's looking at me and saying, I need some people who are going to be like Job. And even in a situation where you got every reason to complain, you got every reason to act like you have lost your hope, to remember where you set it and to set it on me. So now you can leave here and go be a hope dealer. And every person that's discouraged, and every person that's doubting, and every person that feels like life is caving in on them and they want to be done with their existence, you can deal hope, because your hope is not based on what you see. Baby, your hope is something deeper on the inside of you that never runs out. That's what our boy Job did. Job, after dealing with all these crazy people who just keep complaining, in Job chapter 42, after having a conversation with God, where God has to correct him, because even Job got a little bit off track for a second because of all the nonsense around him. Job replies to God in Job chapter 42 and says, I know, Lord, that you can do anything, and that no plan of yours is thwarted. Can I tell you, that can be your hope today? It may not look like you thought it was going to look. 2020 was supposed to be the year of clarity, and it is the year of confusion. Can I tell you, no plan of God can be thwarted. Not by some virus, not by some difficulty in your workplace, not by some downturn in the economy. No plan of God can be thwarted. And that can be our statement of hope. It don't matter what I see. I serve a God who is able to make a way that I can see, even though I can't see him. Come on, I trust the God I can't see to make a way that I can see. That's a hope that we hold to. That's a hope that we cling to today, that our God, oh, he is a way maker.